this is Robin with Creative2xmom, and in today's video we're going to be talking about what's in our morning basket. So welcome back to my channel. My name is Robin and this is Creative2xmom. This channel is all about homeschooling, parenthood, and thriving in the day-to-day. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you what is in our fall morning basket. This is part of a collaboration that is being hosted by Rooted in Rest as well as the Waldock Way. It's part of their Homeschool show and tell series, so I'm jumping in on this one. I will leave links to their channels down below as well as the playlist. Now, if you're a returning viewer, I'm sure you've seen some of my morning basket videos in the past. I used to do monthly theme baskets and film all of these for you guys, so I will link a bunch of those down below if you are looking for themed resources. There is so much in those videos. But over the last couple of years we've really settled into a rhythm and we've changed a few things here and there, but we've mostly started to really find what we enjoy and keep it consistent. There are a few things that change from year to year, and there are even a few things here that will change in the next couple of months, but for the most part we have sort of categories that I look for anymore that are reoccurring. So this is what we currently are using in our morning time. Now, you don't have to have a basket. I don't have a basket. All of these resources for our morning time are all over the place, and you don't even have to do it in the mornings. That's just what works for us. I like to start our morning with some morning time to get us in the rhythm, kind of warm up our brains, and have that family togetherness. Making sure that we are also hitting some of the subjects that wouldn't traditionally be embraced in a traditional homeschool day. Now, some of these resources we use every day, and some of them we rotate through. So I'll talk about the daily things first. We always start our morning with our scripture memory, and this is a review system that we adopted a few years ago, and I've created a video specifically about how we do our scripture memory and review. I will link that down below, but this is how we always start our morning. It gets our brains working, it kind of wakes us up, and it's a good way to review together. The next subject that we are touching on every day is new to us this year, and that is going through some poetry and just reading poetry together. And the resource that I've been using for that is Ambleside Online. If I go to their site, there's a tab on the top that says subject, and if you hover over that, it will drop down poetry. Now, we are rotating every 6 weeks. They suggest you rotate every 12, but because I have one that's in high school, I'm trying to expose her to as many poets as I possibly can right now. So we will spend 6 weeks on a 6th grade poet and then 6 weeks on a 9th grade poet, and we've been alternating back and forth. When you go to those pages, they give you links to some selected poetry from that poet, and we're just reading one together every morning. Sometimes I'll ask the kids what kind of impression it gave them, what they thought about the poem, but mostly we are just sitting down and enjoying it. We're not analyzing it. I'm not looking for the real deeper symbolic meanings. We're just sitting down and enjoying poetry, taking some of the intimidation factor out of it. The other thing that we are doing every day is our family read aloud. Now, I have shared in the past that we like to do our read aloud in the evenings before bed. It's a good way to wind down. But with this year's dance schedule, my little guy is typically in bed or well on his way by the time my daughter gets done with dance. So we were finding that we were only reading aloud maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and it just was not, it was stalling out our reading quite a bit. So we have put this into our morning basket. Sometimes I will end on this. The kids like to end on this because it's a good way of wrapping up our time. Sometimes we will end with Bible, just depends. But right now we are reading The Sword and the Stone. I anticipate finishing this one really soon. My 6th grader has loved it, my 9th grader not so much, but it's been a good classic to read together. And then I mentioned Bible, and sometimes we do this together, sometimes we don't, but I try to hit it every day. We are using Rod and Staff's Bible curriculum for the very first time, so you will notice that this is level 5, but there is still so much good meaty stuff in here. I don't know that I would categorize this for a grade necessarily. It's just at the beginning of their Bible series. They start this in 5th grade and they move on. but it's been good for all of us, even me as the mom. There is, I think, 5 or 6 pages a week. There is review weeks. We're not doing the review weeks because I'm not using this necessarily as a curriculum as much as it is just being able to go through and study the Bible together. Right now we are going over the life of Abraham, and then we will move on from there. It starts chronologically, started with Adam and Eve, and that's really why I wanted to do level 5, is so that we could move on together and not miss things from the beginning. Really good. This is 30 weeks and there are 6 tests, but like I said, we're not using the tests. We're just going through the weeks to get the Bible information. And everything else I have here, we rotate through. And some people will do a loop schedule where they just go on to the next thing in their loop. I have specific subjects scheduled for specific days because some days of our week are busier than others with outside obligations, and some days are a little bit lighter on outside obligations. Some of these resources take more time, some of them take less time. So if we have a busier day, I will specifically plug those resources into that day. And if we have to cut our morning time short on a longer morning time block that I have, then we just cut it short and we move on. I try not to worry about it. The things that I've already mentioned, those are the things that I really try to always fit into our day if we have to cut morning time. And these other things are very just supplementary topics that I want to explore with them, so they're a little bit more flexible. I'm trying to think, what does our schedule look like? On Tuesdays, we always go through ourselves. This is by Simply Charlotte Mason. I picked this up from the school library. Most of the sections are anywhere from 2 to 3 pages long. I was previewing for next week. We're going to have one section, I think that's 7 pages long. And this just goes through care for your soul. What is man's soul like? So it's a bit of an allegory like Pilgrim's Progress. We are doing this twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're reading each little section and discussing it. In the back there's also discussion questions, but we have found that just by opening up the conversation, we are getting a lot more out of it. I sometimes use the discussion questions and sometimes the kids just come with their own questions, and so we go through that together. I'm enjoying this one. It's bringing up some self-control and just some harder topics that you wouldn't necessarily bring up in everyday conversation. This is actually suggested, I think, for that junior high age, although it is a challenge. If you looked into the Ambleside curriculum in the past, everything is a bit accelerated, and I'm finding that we are enjoying this more as a family study than an individual study, and that's why I put it in our morning basket. I wanted to discuss these things with the kids. On Tuesdays, we also talk a little bit about money, and Rainbow Resources has a series of books. They are practical life skill math things. So last year we did a checking book, which I know checks are kind of becoming more and more rare, but that's still a good skill to have, how you track your checks, how you track your expenses. This year we are doing the bank account math. This has gone into so far how you use your ATM card, how you track your transactions, following what are some ways to make deposits, what are some ways to just different skills that you would have when you go into a bank, filling out your register, knowing what a deposit is, because in 6th grade my little guy didn't really know what deposit meant, how you use an ATM card, what your debit card looks like, what all those numbers are for. I think this will take us maybe the semester. I'm not sure, possibly a little bit into January. And then I don't know if I will get another one in the series. There are 5. There's one about bargaining and budgeting, and I can't remember the 5th. Maybe applying for a credit card. This really for me has been a lot about preparing my high schooler for the next step in her life. And so we have been, although these are things that we've talked about, I'm still finding topics in these books that we haven't really addressed. So this is going into our morning basket. And then from Usborne, I also picked up Managing Your Money. I do not know if we will get to this year or not. There are a couple of reasons. There's a few other things in our morning basket, so stay tuned. I will do a refresher video in the spring to see if we go through that one. Thursdays, on that Monday topic, we'll jump over to Thursday. We also read a chapter in Whatever Happened to Penny Candy. Again, this is mostly for my high schooler. Even for me, I'm learning a lot about inflation. I'm learning about supply and demand. So I would definitely say a high schooler, I would put this into an economics course possibly too. But I'm putting it in our morning basket again because we're getting so much more out of it when we discuss it. There are some things that are easy for the kids to just do on their own, and then there's some things that are just enriched so much more by discussion, and this has been one of those. On Wednesdays, Wednesday is probably my favorite day of the week. We go on to Ambleside Online again, and we look for that drop-down menu, and we look for artists. Now we are spending 12 weeks on each artist, so we have 3 artists that we are going over this year. Currently we are talking about Van Gogh, and so I will pull up, there's a link to 6 different paintings, and I will click on a link each week. We'll go through them twice, and we will just spend 2 or 3 minutes just observing the painting, looking at the brush strokes, looking at the style, taking note of what era of art that was, and looking at his colors. His colors have really struck me this time through, how you can start to identify his paintings by the colors. And then I will stop and we'll talk about what we saw, what we noticed. It is amazing, again, when you discuss something with your kids, they notice so many things that I don't. And it's been a really great study for us. We're enjoying doing that. To go along with that, I also picked up Famous Paintings by Usborne. This has just been fun. There's only one Van Gogh in here, but sometimes we'll flip through them and we'll look at how artists name their paintings, the different styles of paintings. There is some fun stuff in here that I don't necessarily appreciate, that would never hang on my walls, but it's just fun to see, like, what were they thinking when they painted this? So this has been a fun resource to go through together. We are also using Mindbenders once a week. This is the level 4, so this is for my 6th grader, I think. Yeah, this one runs grades 3rd through 6th, and we've never done Mindbenders before. I wasn't sure how challenging they would be. They are tough. There have been a few times here that I have had to look back at the answer key to figure out exactly what we're doing. But this is a good way of getting their logical thinking going and having them focus on details, because if you miss details in the clues, if you read through it too quickly, you can really mess up your puzzle. So he's having fun with this one. My daughter is in 9th grade, and I think I got her the level 6. And she enjoyed it so much, she's actually finished it. I planned on them lasting at least a semester, and hers was done in 5 or 6 weeks, just because she was always pulling it out of our morning basket and taking it and working on it on her own. So now I have to order her another one. We are also doing Libs once a week. This slides in place of our regular grammar study on Fridays. So I have the kids fill it out before they even come to morning time on Friday morning. They fill it out and then we read them together. They enjoy that. It's fun for me. It's a good way to kick off a silly Friday, looking forward to the weekend. My son has the outer space one, my daughter has the family tree one, and even though she's in 9th grade and it's a little bit young for her, we're having fun with it because it's just a way of lightening up the day. You know, when they get into high school, everything's so serious, and so this is just a fun way to lighten everything up. And her grammar is really, really solid, so I'm not concerned about her missing one day a week. So I think that is everything in our morning basket. It feels really, really full to me now that I've pulled it all out for you guys. One other thing that we do in sort of spreading the feast for my kids is we listen to a folk song every month and a hymn every month. Now this is a Charlotte Mason thing where you study a hymn every month. My daughter hates to sing. So the way we have worked it out, my 6th grader loves to sing, my 9th grader hates to sing. So the way that we've worked it out is I rotate every day, folk and hymn, and I go on to YouTube. I have a particular channel that she uploads them every month, so I will link that below. And we use it as a call to action in the morning. So I will go pop in their rooms, I'll tell them, hey, you know, our song is about 3 minutes long, I'm going to start it now. Wrap up whatever you're doing and come meet us in the living room in 3 minutes. By the time the song is over, they should be with me. They should either, if it's a Friday, I will remind them, grab your Mad Lib. If it's a Tuesday, grab your bank account. So they have what they need and they are seated and ready to go. So that's the way we've done that. I like hearing the songs. I don't necessarily like to sing either, but it's fun to learn them, to hear the great messages that come in these rich hymns. So that's been the way I've sort of made everybody happy, and then we can still get the music and not necessarily have to feel like we're screeching every morning while we sing. So that's everything we have in our morning basket this semester currently, and our fall semester for the new year. Leave me a comment down below and let me know, what do you love doing with your kids in the morning? Do you do a morning time, and what does that look like? I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye guys.